Morning everybody, Bo Circle B Farms. We're doing something a little different today. We're going out to the sawmill to pick up some lumber for a project. So we'll be back when we get to the sawmill. Alright, finally made it to the sawmill, made it back home. Show y'all what all we got here. We got two 4x4s. We got some 2x4s, 1x6s, and 2x6s. And there's two 1x12s on here. We're building a farmhouse bed. I got more material than I needed, but the price was right and he didn't have a couple things that I actually needed, so I got bigger material to rip down to what I need. But let me see if Pinterest pulled up and I'll show you a picture of what we're building. Be right back. Alright, this is what we're building. A farmhouse bed frame. Let me get everything loaded up on here and we'll start getting our materials cut. Alright, here is our headboard cut list and our footboard cut list. But let's get our 4x4s. We need two 4x4s at 54 inches. Two 2x2s at 30 inches. 11 1x6s at 30 inches. And then it says we need two 2x4s at 67.5 measure and cut to fit. I'll figure that part out here in a minute. We're not going to cut those yet, but we're going to get our two 4x4s cut and our 11 1x6s cut. So let me get the 4x4s in here and we'll get those whacked. Alright. Says we need two 4x4s for the headboard at 54. So I'm going to mark these at 60. And cut this 4x4 with the chainsaw. And then go put it on the saw. See how I can get my camera to hold up here. See how I prop this camera up where y'all can see what I'm doing. Well, alright, let me cut these and then I'll get the camera set up. Alright, we're going to get these squared up with the saw here. Alright. Well, I didn't do a very good job of squaring that sucker up, did I? How y'all guys doing out there? I was having a little issue with the saw right here. It wasn't quite big enough to cut all the way through a 4x4. And all this is rough cut true lumber here. And then my table kept rocking. I didn't realize there was a small little piece of wood under one of my legs. And every time I could do something, my darn table would rock. But I finally got that kicked out and got that leveled up to make everything work a little better. But I hope y'all enjoy this video and let me know if y'all want to see some more woodworking stuff. And remember, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Alright, what I've got going on here is I got my table set for my length. As I'm cutting these, it makes it go faster. Alright guys, right here I'm getting all my 1x6s cut for my footboard and my headboard that I needed to cut. So sit back and enjoy the ride. So with this, you just slide your board up to the stop, square it up, and it's the reason I bought this table yesterday, was to make life easier. Which if every board's got to be a different length, that don't help you. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gotta have 2 more at 30. Well, I seen that. Almost had a screw up right there, didn't we? What happens when you get in a hurry? One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. And all of this is rough cut pine. Alright, that's all the 1x6s for the headboard. Now let me get back and look at the plans and see what we need. And we'll go. I got them laid out here. And it's supposed to be come out to around 60 and a half. Well, we're sitting at 63 and 3/4 because we're using true 1x6s. So I'm gonna mark it at 60 and a half and measure, and then I'm gonna I'll rip the 2 end boards down. See what we gotta rip down. 1.5 inches off 2. I'll rip 1.5 inches off 2 of these 1x6s, and that'll be the end 2 will be just a tad short because I think the dimensions on. All right, guys. What I ended up doing here is I just ripped down 1.5 inches off of 1x6 for the footboard and the headboard, and I just put hit in the center. There's 11 boards. There's 11 1x6s across. So what I ended up doing is I put hit in the center of the footboard and the headboard. So there's 5 true 1x6s on each side of these. Decided just to rip down one. I wouldn't rip one board, come back and measured, and that put it at 60. Let me pull the tape measure again. I'm going to put this a 1/4 of an inch off after I took a 1/2 inch off of it. So we're going to leave it right there. So we'll leave it a 1/4 inch off, because when I pull everything tight, it'll tighten up and it's going to shrink up a little bit. So that worked out good for that. I'm going to work on sanding this for a minute, and then we will move on to getting our 1x4s and everything cut. Hopefully y'all can see. I'm going to take the electric hand planer. Well, I done knocked y'all over. Since this is rust cut, I don't want it perfectly smooth. I want it to look rustic. Just don't want to get splinters when I'm laying in the bed. So, I wish I had a nice big planer, but all I've got is this little porter cable. So porter cable, the electric hand planer, and all I'm going to do is set it at a 1/16, or actually 5/64, and I'm just going to buzz across every board on both sides, and I'll go back and sand it. So I'll get y'all some footage. And deal is with this thing. We're just knocking that rough off. Here's the backside before, and I'll get you the backside after. Just knocking that rough off, and I'll bump it with a sander. I probably might have, but I end up standing on the cord 90% of the time. Yeah, well, that's half the reason I ain't blowing shavings. Now, it don't leave them perfect. It will leave a little dip in the board. I should have done the whole boards before I cut them, but it's the only thing. He'll leave these little dips in the end down here, but they're going to be covered up. So I wish I had a regular planer, but I want this to look like it was built 100 years ago. We got those planed down. Now I'm going to run the sander across. And then we'll figure out, we'll cut our 1x4s cut. And our other little pieces to start putting this thing together. I'm going to plane those 4x4s too. And then this will be the headboard. I don't know if I'm going to stain it or leave it natural. I'm going to let it dry. It needs to dry a little bit before I stain it, I think, because it's kind of green still. But let me get this camera set up a little better here, and we'll get some sanding video. All right, let's use some YouTube magic. Get